the recent International Monetary Fund (IMF) loan just days after the institution approved a 255 billion shilling loan to Kenya. For the third day and counting, many are restless due to the country's worsening debt crisis.
On Friday, the Easter holiday for Kenyans began with a statement by the International Monetary Fund that it had approved a 255 billion shilling loan for Kenya. Kenyans have since taken to social media with the hashtag #StopLoaningKenya, many criticizing President Kenyatta's government for returning to the IMF with begging bowls after what they termed as unproductive borrowing from China and Eurobond. In a press release, the IMF board affirmed that the 3-year financing package will support the next phase of Kenya's COVID-19 response, reduce its vulnerabilities while safeguarding resources to protect vulnerable groups. The fund will also advance the broader reform and governance agenda by addressing weaknesses in some state-owned enterprises or SOEs, as well as strengthening transparency and accountability through the anti-corruption framework. On Thursday, an InfoTrack poll revealed that Kenyans and leaders across the political divide are against the government's appetite for foreign loans. According to Walter Omondi, the research manager at InfoTrack, millions of Kenyans feel the country is already burdened with debt.
62% of Kenyans do not think regular borrowing from countries is a good thing. That is, they are opposed to regular borrowing from external donors. 76% of Kenyans are of the opinion that Kenya gets most of its loans from China. 43% of Kenyans perceive bad debt to be money that is borrowed, from foreign countries, or that is lost or is wasted through corruption. 52% of Kenyans rate the government's handling of foreign debt poorly. And 81% of Kenyans feel either anxious, fearful, or angry because of the country's level of foreign debt. A majority of Kenyans do not think that regular borrowing from foreign countries is a good thing, despite the fact that we are a country that has many development obligations.
Nashangaa Kenya kila siku fisadi hauishi na watu hawafungwi. Pesa inakuja inaingia kwa mfuko wa mabilioni na watu hawafungwi.
Magufuli alipochukua uongozi hajawahi kopa, na tukiangalia taifa lake limeendelea mbele sana, liko mbele sana.
Kenya story na mkopo waache kabisa.
Previously, Kenya had kept away from direct budget funding from institutions such as the IMF and the World Bank during retired President Mwai Kibaki's regime. Most of the support came in the form of project supports. Former President Mwai Kibaki took over from the late President Daniel Moi when Kenya's public debt stood at 629 million shillings at 60% of the gross domestic product. Kibaki grew the economy over the next decade with minimal loans. By the time he left in March 2013, he had doubled Kenya's debt to 1.7 trillion shillings, but with an expanded economy to support it, putting debt at 41% of the GDP. Enter President Uhuru Kenyatta's Jubilee regime, which has gone on to borrow at least 7.1 trillion shillings to implement his manifesto in 10 years in power, but struggles to grow the economy, putting that currently at 69.2% of the GDP. IMF will first immediately disburse 33.5 billion shillings for budget support. The lump sum loan is the country's second loan program from the IMF in under 1 year, having received 80.6 billion shillings in May last year to mitigate the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Grace Josephine, TV 47.